moment, it is Team Fordzilla Blue that are leading the team standings by a comfortable, 23 points ahead of Simsport Solutions. Zansho Simsport round out the top 3 ahead of Simsport Racing. Divario Corsa round out the top 5 ahead of Team Fordzilla Orange, with Red Shell Racing, Team BRIT Nissan, Camsport Fire and eTeam Vizzaro hopefully looking to make their way out of the top 10, well, maybe a little bit higher up. But it's Charlie Crossland who has managed to become our 3rd respective race winner. He'll be on the full 75 kilos of ballast tonight, 56 points, so he's got an 18-point advantage ahead of Sean Campbell. The initial championship leader after the first round at Kyle Army, Dean Riley, has got some work to do tonight. Robbie Stapleford has very much shown that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next 5 races, including this one. Rich Smith could be a pretty good shot for tonight, depending on how he wrestles with that ballast and that Aston Martin around the 6.2 kilometre circuit. Dominik Alvarez not here tonight, so we'll have a bit of work to do coming into round 5 at Snetterton in 4 weeks' time. Kieran Vidago, Stuart Ross French tied on points ahead of Regan Mitchell. Joel Schmidt also not present. It seems like the cold's doing the rounds at the moment, David, because we've Will Dendy's not here tonight. He was moving house. Callum Cripps was meant to be jumping in for him, and he's got a cold. It seems like the flu season is upon us.
Well, you know, sim racing is not quite as rock and roll as its real life counterpart, unfortunately, as real life issues take the lead on this one. It is what it is, Alex, unfortunately, and it's the great thing about this wonderful hobby that we all take up is that we can kind of put it down, unlike the real life version.
Yeah, so really, I think without further ado, let's have a look at the highlights from round 3 at Oulton Park 4 weeks ago. 60 minutes on the clock for round 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. It's Crossland versus Smith. It's Aston Martin against Mercedes. Are we ready? And we get the green flag. We are underway, and a great start from Charlie Crossland, who leads the field going into turn 1 and instantly cuts across the front of Rich Smith. And there has been a turnaround. Oh no, don't tell me that's Bobby Trundy, and it's caused absolute havoc behind. Sean Campbell is giving chase to Joel Schmidt, coming through out of Druids, now into Lodge. I'm going to use the following word, and it's one that I'm actually coming to love. He yeeted it over the curb. And here comes the Aston. Very much under pressure, as now that's the case with Bradley Brockies, who's got Mark Neuslings in that Leviathan from Crew, the Bentley Continental GT3, and the Dutch driver gets through. David Simon, that is going through Island Bend, and he's just lost the back end. It's just stepped away from him. eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. Right, time is now 40 minutes to go, and already we've had someone dive into the pit lane. I do get involved, this will be the first option as that's wide and then some. Coming out of Druid's corner, Sean Campbell, take a bow, kept the throttle pinned in the Lamborghini Huracan. Jack Ashton is also just egging on David Simon, who's looking towards the inside. That's close between him and Mark Neuslings. Neuslings just stays out of trouble, but a little bit of a wiggle from the rear of the 555.
Track is so narrow. Sean Campbell just can't get round, and there we go. What's happened? It's going to be into the wall. Boom!
Hidalgo now finally gets past Stapleford. I think Stapleford is probably just wanting to secure some good points. Well, David, that was filled with yeets. That was filled with hitting the wall, boom, as you very rightly put 4 weeks ago. But it's going to be a lot tougher here at Mount Panorama, isn't it? I mean, it's so close for comfort when you've got two walls literally bearing down, going through certain parts of the circuit: the Cutting, Griffin's Mount, Quarry Bend, Sulman, McPhillamy. I mean, this track is going to, as you said, you rightly put it there, the wheat. It's going to separate the wheat from the chaff.
It is, but what concerns me, Alex, is the fact that they managed to find chaos and carnage on a track that's got lots and lots of runoff. So what on earth are they going to do here tonight where there is very, very little runoff? We saw that action down into turn one. I can't see that happening, but I can see really, really bad things, Alex, happening at the chase.
Well, I mean, if one of us ends up doing a Mark Scaven saying they're all in the fence, then we've got problems. If anyone might remember that. But we've still got 4 more rounds to go after this one. Snetterton on the 15th of November, the 13th of December, Donington Park, Spa-Francorchamps on the 10th of January, hosts the penultimate round of the season, and then Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari Imola, the 7th of February. There is a one-off event that's going to be happening in March. It's going to be a 120-minute race. The top 15 from the championship standings get a free entry to that, and then everyone else has to squabble over the remaining places. It's going to be free card choice. And now we're going to head trackside for qualification, and initially Dean Riley has got the first benchmark in already in the 2-minute 1.2s. There's Robbie Stapleford, who is running in the 81 McLaren 720S GT3. Martin Buchan makes his second appearance in as many rounds that he's actually attended. 2 out of 4 ain't bad for the 666. Rich Smith, second last time out, fourth ahead of Chris Pinchback, Bradley Brockes, Tim Lane, Regan Mitchell, Ben Brown and Sandro Ballesteros rounding out the top 10. And you know what I'm seeing up ahead, David, in the sky above? It is cloudy here at Mount Panorama.
I think it's a little bit of weather, as we would say up here in Scotland. It's well, to be fair, it's actually a pretty normal day up here. But yeah, cloud is pretty heavy here at Mount Panorama. What gets me though is the track's still 31 degrees Celsius, and that air temperature still a balmy 24 degrees. So I don't think you'll hear any complaints just yet.
Okay, so drivers coming into this round with ballast. Charlie Crossland, 75 kilos. Rich Smith, 66. Joel Schmidt isn't here this evening, was due to run with 57. Sean Campbell in the Lamborghini Huracan, the number 26, will have 48 kilos. Stuart Ross French will have 39. well, he should know this track very well. He's actually competed around it in real life when I spoke to him in Season 2. Kieran Vidago, 33 kilos. Robbie Stapleford, 27. David Simon in the 64 will have 21. Ben Brown will have 15. And Paolo Tempera will have 9. Now, I do spot a returnee as Nick Foster is back in the number 13 Zansho Simsport's Mercedes, and there he is. He is actually running. Now, if memory serves me correctly, he was 4th at Kyalami, so he still has 48 kilos of ballast. Now, he's another Aussie that we've got on the grid, and he should know this track very, very well indeed.
He really, really should, and I get the feeling that might be his downfall tonight. It usually seems to be the home curse that strikes quite well here at Bathurst, but doing a decent job of coming through the track so far, and then down through Forest Elbow as we see Max Spooner here for eTeam Vizzaro getting a little bit of a cheeky toe right there. I think that might be is that Hamish Eisner just in front of him. But anyway, coming down through the S's and through the Dipper just now. Alex, it's such a daunting series of corners, this double chicane, and then this right-hander, and then this tight left-hander down at Forest Elbow. Do you think that this is where we're going to see the majority of the incidents today?
Yeah, I mean, that's Dan Hyde actually in front of Max Spooner. I mean, we're probably... and Regan Mitchell at the moment is currently 4th. Now he's got no I think he's got no ballast if memory serves me correctly. He's about to come through Murray's corner, and let's just keep an eye on his time. Goes top, 2 minutes, 0.771 seconds. The number 69 Simsport Racing Ferrari 488 GT3 goes top, and by a clear nigh on 0.3 of a second. Martin Buchan is doing eTeam Vizzaro the world of good at the moment, because he's currently running in P4 on a genuine pace. He's about 8.5 of a second off. Now we know how adaptable Martin Buchan has been in the past 3 seasons. He was our Cinetic BMW Series champion in Season 1. We've got a replay coming here. Now this is Max Spooner following Daniel Hyde. Now this is going to be at high speed, over 270 kilometers an hour, down Conrod into the chase. Spooner to the inside, and just clips the curb and it spins the car round. But oh my goodness, that was a full-on 720, maybe even a 1080 there from Max Spooner. Well held. Style points and control points, I'd give him 25 out of 10 for that one.
Around and around and around the corner. Goodness me, that was quite impressive actually.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with the fact that he didn't actually end up hitting the back end of Daniel Hyde there. So I think that's definitely clean up on aisle 3, 4 and 5 with the amount of spins that Max Spooner just did. Bobby Trundley, always a firm favourite, does exactly what Regan Mitchell did, outbraked himself going into Hell Corner after putting the car P8 on the road. And there is Hamish Eisner, who managed to catch up with 3 of the drivers ahead of tonight's festivities, as that was Robbie Stapleford, very, very close to the wall. That was probably going through Reed Park. But Hamish Eisner, one of 2 drivers from the LGBTIQ community, along with Joel Schmidt, who's not present this evening. Great to have some inputs from them, and also to speak to Mike Tyler. So great to have. We're going to have more driver interviews coming up into the lead up into the next championship round at Snetterton, which is round 5 out of 8. Now the drivers do have a drop score, so they can drop one of the 8 rounds towards their championship tally. But at the moment, I'm looking at it this respect. I mean, what a lap from Regan Mitchell. I mean, the Ferrari very capable around here. So's the McLaren. The biggest thing is that Stapleford's got ballast, doesn't he?
He really does, and I'm really glad though that Regan Mitchell's finally proved me right after bragging about him for almost all the season, and he only got that decent result last time out. I think, what was it? It was Well, no, he didn't actually. Not last time out. Excuse me. But anyway, the point being is that I was singing his praises right at the start of the season, and he's just not really shone through so far. So it's great to see him finally getting up there, and what a time that is. I mean, 0.2 of a second doesn't sound much, as Chris Wilson looks a little bit broken in that car. Either he's just getting started on a lap, or he's just had a bit of an instant coming down the chase there.
Nick Foster rounds out the top 5, 8.5 of a second best. He's 3 tenths up, heading down Conrod Straight into the chase as he swings the car to the right-hand side, hard on the brakes. And I think probably what we'll need to do is we're going to give you a bit of an on-board lap very, very shortly as we wait, first of all, for Nick Foster to cross the line. Down through into Murray's. Turns the car neatly in. On the power, out of the corner. What's it going to be from Nick Foster? Is he going to improve? And he goes. Oh, that was a bit of a doozy there. He puts it in on a 2-minute 1.254, and now the top 5 covered by less than half a second. Nick Foster took the best part of 3.5 tenths out of his time just then.
I was going to say, did I just see a car going straight on at the?
That was him.
On one.
That was it. It's like everyone's trying to do that at the moment. So let's see if we can have a look from a perspective of one particular driver, because there's quite a few actually sitting in the pits at the moment. Max Spooner's one of them, but Dan Hyde is still out on the track at the minute. Martin Buchan is in the pits as well, so they're all gathering themselves up for their second run. But let's stay on board with James Hall. He's into the chase now. So down the gears. Through into the left, now into the right. This is the famed spot where Garth Tander and Scott McLaughlin had the famous redress, where McLaughlin got a penalty as a result of that. So into Murray's corner. So we're on board with the 67 eTeam BRIT car. This is the McLaren 720S GT3, if memory serves me correctly. Hall goes across the line. He's currently P20 at the moment. Down the gears once again. Turn it into Hell Corner. And now up Mountain Straight. Accelerating up the gears, we've got a yellow flag out for the number 30 car at this particular juncture, which is that is Hamish Easner, as James Hall will now brake from probably just past the 100-metre marker board and turns in, and bam, or wham as they say in Australia. So he's now going to hit the escape button, and that just goes to show how difficult it is around here, David, and you know that firsthand.
Yes, I've tried it many times and failed miserably most of the times around here. The problem with Bathurst as well is that it is a wonderful, wonderful circuit to drive, don't get me wrong, in these GT3 cars. If you can get it hooked up, it feels absolutely amazing, but it's one of those tracks, Alex, that can bite you so severely at the blink of an eye with no warning whatsoever. You can go from hero to zero in no time at all.
Yep. And Mark Neutelings, the Flying Dutchman, in the 555 Positive Perception Simsport Bentley Continental, the only one that decided to go with the Bentley Continental GT3. He's currently 8 tenths up at the moment, as the 555 now makes its way into the left-hander here at Murray's corner. Will Neutelings improve? Oh, bit of a tank slapper coming out of the final corner, but still keeps a hold of it. Still goes 8 tenths quicker and puts it up to P12, just about 2.5 tenths behind Sean Campbell. But Robbie Stapleford is on a mission at the moment, the number 81. And he's on for provisional pole at the moment. And effectively, this could be an even better lap than Regan Mitchell. But Martin Buchan is in second at the moment, less than 2 tenths adrift to the number 69, but Stapleford out of the final corner. What's the time going to be for the McLaren? P1 by 54 thousandths.
Wow. What a lap there from Stapleford. We did really expect that sort of performance from him, and that really ups the ante with 13 minutes left to go. If you think that thing's done and dusted, I think they're just getting started here. And really looking forward to how the final 5 minutes of qualifying will pan out. We've still got about another 8 minutes before we actually get that, but that's normally what we see. We see the banker laps going in just now, the sort of safety laps going in, as it were, and then the drivers will just sort of slowly ratchet up the pressure. And from experience, with 5 minutes to go, all hell breaks loose.
Well, the thing is that there is a little bit of a drama for Charlie Crossland. I think he's just posted in the chat that he's got a disconnect that has happened. He's currently showing 8th on our timing screen, so you can actually go to pitwall.live/timing/Simsport. That will give you the actual what we in the commentary box actually see as Sean Campbell flings that Lamborghini with absolute recklessness and abandon going through Silman and Reed Park as someone's gone round the wrong way and has absolutely clattered the barriers going through into Skyline. Of all places, that's not where you want that to happen. Rich Smith finds himself out in the top 10. And also, we've got the lesser spotted Honda NSX. That is of James Haskell, who's currently showing good pace, 1.689 seconds off of a provisional pole from Robbie Stapleford in 12th place.
And that just shows how thin the margin is over the field as well, given that we've got about a second and a half for 10 positions, and then all the way down, say, to Ben Brown in 23rd. It's 4.5 seconds. That gap will massively shrink as time goes on. But yeah, it's one of the reasons that I absolutely love this series, Alex. The level of performance from all of these drivers and the level of improvement, as we see Rich Smith clattering the wall there and deciding to pull it into the pits. I think that was at Oulton Park that he so rudely graced the wall there. And look, that's a perfect example, isn't it, about how quickly it can go from hero to zero, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes from bad to worse at the snap of a fingers. Well, we're with the man, the myth, the legend that is Mr. Bobby Trundley, 10th place in the qualifying session, which has just over 11 minutes and 20 still to go. He's nearly 1.3 seconds off of, well, Regan Mitchell has put the boots on the other foot by 12 1/1000s. He's gone quicker than Robbie Stapleford. Now, if people might not remember the 2015 Liquid Moly Bathurst 12 hours, this particular car, the Nissan GTR GT3 Nismo, won the event that year. So it is a car that can be a force to be reckoned with. And one of the good things is, David, Bobby Trundley has no ballast.
And we know how much I like Bobby Trundley. We know how much I'm a big fan of his bravery and his... wow! I didn't expect that, though. 6th position. That's a lap and a half from Bobby. Just 0.8 of a second off of pole position. That's a banger right there.
That is indeed Paulo Tempera, our sole Portuguese driver in this championship, has scored points this season, currently sits in 16th. Vidago currently 2/10 up, could go a little bit further ahead and drops Campbell and Crossland to 9th and 10th respectively. And Tempera improves to P14, so the times they are changing. Stapleford trying to get through. Now that's one of the Red Shell Racing cars. That is Stuart Ross French, who's got ahead of him, so that could give him a bit of a tow going down Conrod. Ben Brown has scored points this season in the number 22 Cam Sport Fire car, partnered with Chris Wilson, who was going to be running solo until circumstances changed somewhat to mean that both drivers were going to end up in the McLarens. Trying to make the best of it, because obviously with this season we've changed it to a straight out dogfight, no pros, no AMs. It's a straight out championship fight, and I think, David, that has really electrified the championship, so to speak.
It has. It's given it a more even playing field, because then you've not got any worry about sandbagging. You've not got any worry about drivers being in the a class that they shouldn't be, whether that's pro and they're maybe more suited to AM and AM pro and all that sort of stuff. It just clears everything up. It's just a straight out race, everybody fighting everybody, and that's what you like to see.
There is our current points leader, Charlie Crossland, making his way through. That will be the cutting, and now he's going to go through Griffin. He's 4/10 up at the moment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is with a full 75 kilos of ballast. So as if this car wasn't heavy enough, Charlie Crossland is absolutely manhandling it at the moment, going through McPhillamy Park. Let's stay on board with the number 10. Down through Skyline, now into the S's, through into the Dipper. Very neat and tidy. Charlie Crossland has very much been one of the names that has been talked about quite a lot in the SRO esports domain, and also in the sim grid as well. Coming out of Forest Sailboat. Now let's see how high he winds up the wick on this Mercedes, because there is a car in front, and if he gets a little bit of a sniff of a slipstream here, this could help him. So down in towards the chase comes Charlie Crossland. Brings the car to the left. Now to the right-hand side. Hard on the brakes into the next left-hander. Neatly done. Doesn't hit too much curb there. A little bit of grass touching on the right-hand side. Goes very wide. Keeps the throttle wide open. But I think he's aborted that lap. Yeah, I could see that the front end was diving in, so he had to abort that one. But he's still got 7.5 minutes. He was really going for it on that lap, wasn't he, David?
He absolutely was, and I think he'll definitely get the benefit of it in a later lap. But 7.5 minutes left to go. Now we're going to have to start seeing the times coming in as we're watching Max Spooner coming up over Skyline, that iconic dip through the S's here, and he's got one of the Lamborghinis hot on his tail. It's the I love calling it the Crayola car, because that's what it looks like for me. But Max Spooner looks like kind of holding up a little bit, but the problem is that he's just doing his own lap. In fact, Max tries to get out the way, but doesn't quite work out. But Max down in 26th position. I would expect to see Max up in the top 20. That's the sort of pace that I know he's got in that car. He's had a reasonable season. Yes, he's had a couple of incidents, but for the most part, actually doing quite well.
Ben Brown's just brought out a yellow flag. That is actually Sean Campbell just behind Max Spooner. So Sean got a little bit of a toe assist going down Conrod Straight and into, but he's decided to back out of it. He's let Chris Pinchbeck pass in the meantime. So 6.5 minutes to go. Regan Mitchell on course at the moment to secure pole position for race 4 out of 8 here at Mount Panorama. Yellow flags are. And Spooner has just demolished a second out of his time. It still put him 25th as Pinchbeck goes wide coming out of Hell Corner. So at the moment it is Regan Mitchell, followed by Robbie Stapleford, Dean Riley, Martin Buchan, Nick Foster, Chris Pinchbeck, Bobby Trundy, Kieran Vidago, Sean Campbell and Charlie Crossland rounding out the top 10. They are covered by a fraction over 1 second. And you know what the thing is that Charlie Crossland is not having the greatest amount of time here in qualifying, because he seems to be invalidating laps like it's going out of fashion. I think that ballast is hurting him.
Yeah, that could very well be the case here. We've got a couple of yellow flags out on the track as well, but just seeing there, he takes a little puff of the grass on the right-hand side there as the car is really not looking too happy at all, in all honesty, is it? It's looking very sluggish to turn in, and the problem is that he's now left it with everything to do. With 5 minutes left to go, 10th is okay, but it leaves him right in the danger zone for turn 1.
Well, we saw what happened at turn 1 at Oulton Park 4 weeks ago. Bobby Trundy yeeted the curbs, then all of a sudden it caused havoc behind. And we know what havoc can be like here at Mount Panorama, David. I mean, this circuit is the one out of all of them this season that takes no prisoners.
It really is, and what it looks like is not pretty. That's in a nutshell what bad times at Bathurst spell for you. But look, if we're honest, I mean, Regan Mitchell, Robbie Stapleford, Dean Riley, Martin Buchan, Nick Foster, those cars there, I think, can be fairly happy with where they are. They won't be, and I can almost guarantee they'll be straight back out. But given that we've got 4 cars under under the 201s, that makes it very, very close for the actual fight for pole position. So Charlie Crossland looks though to have a bit of a better lap here. I'm not going to say it too much just in case I do actually jinx it, but that's terrible if he gets caught up by his teammate. Actually, it's a nice little toe here, Alex, down the back straight.
Now the thing is that is David Simon, and when you think about it, these are 2 sister Team Fordzilla crews. Charlie's in Team Fordzilla Orange, David Simon's in Team Fordzilla Blue. Martin Buchan's already said, I'm already waving the white flag. I can't go any quicker, laugh out loud. Now, that's the opportunity that Charlie needed to get through. Now, he's just got to keep it together. The back end squirming a little bit to the left-hand side. Coming through the exit of the chase. He's got one more corner to go. Right, okay, 75 kilos of ballast on this car. He's leading the championship. He's out of Murray's, and he goes P9. He lost all that time, and I think it might have been possibly through the chase, just by how. What should have happened is that if he got the toe off of Simon could have actually have pulled over to maybe the other side and then given Charlie the optimum run through the chase.
And it just didn't happen that way, did it? That's, yeah. But how did that happen? Regan Mitchell, now pole position, goes across and is 1/100th of a second faster than Robbie Stapleford. That caught us a little bit by surprise.
Well, he did one earlier as he's just gone absolutely flinging it sideways coming through Hell Corner. He actually went 3/1000ths quicker than his previous lap, did Regan Mitchell. Kieran Vidago has put it up into P6. Luke Pound in the sister Nissan to Bobby Trundley rounds out the top 15. Now, Luke Pound, because of his disabilities, can only race using the steering wheel with one arm. That's why they've nicknamed him, trivially, the one-arm bandit. It sounds like an arcade machine, but he's actually doing this on a sim. So he's got all the controls on one side, a bit like Michael Tyler. Michael Tyler has cerebral palsy. So we have people from all walks of life, all walks of ability, here in this championship. The yellow flags were briefly out for a moment, but I'm hoping that Luke Pound is going to improve his lap time, the number 66. He's a fraction off of Mark Neutlings, and he's ahead of Tim Lane. Stuart Ross French down in 17th position. Now, one of the things with this session now, we're into the last couple of minutes. Yellow flags out again. It just seems like people are just pushing the limits of adhesion. They seem to come a cropper. Luke Pound now into the chase. So I'm wondering if his time has actually improved or if he's up on any sector in this lap, because we're about to see how he's going to get through into Murray's Corner. The number 66 from Team BRIT through the final corner, Murray's Corner, and across the line. Where's he going to factor in? Goes P11. Great improvement there as Stuart Ross French makes his way through the S's and into the dipper.
Yeah, brilliant effort there. The other thing as well is what you say about the yellow flags very briefly. What it can be as well is some of the drivers just decide to abandon their cars at the side of the track to get another lap started again. That can briefly bring out yellow flags, but 9 times out of 10 it is actually somebody going horrifically sideways into the wall here. 40 seconds left to go in qualifying, and this is looking very, very good for Regan Mitchell.
Well, keep your eyes on Dean Riley. Now, Riley didn't have a good run of luck last time out at Oulton Park, his local circuit. I actually met the guy there in late July in person. Real nice bloke. Very, very good racer in his own right. He might have an opportunity at another lap because, look, 18 seconds on the clock. He's about to make his way through into Murray's. Now, he's only 2/10 off of Regan Mitchell. Can he pull something out of the bag? Because Mitchell thinks the job is done. Riley's gotten quicker on that lap. He's now 0.135 behind. So the top 3 in the battle for pole position. Martin Buchan's given up with 2.5 tenths that he can't find as the checkered's out for the session. Crossland trying to go better than 9th. And he's sideways through the S's and into the dipper. Oh my goodness, Charlie Crossland is just pushing really hard. I mean, he's fighting that car all the way, and you can tell that there's a little bit of frustration coming in. But I don't think it might not be enough. I mean, he's going to come down Conrod straight for the final time. I mean, Riley is the one that we've really got to watch, but Riley's previous lap time has... Oh, hang on. Robbie Stapleford's gone provisional pole. 2-minute .660 on his final attempt. Riley's got to pull something out of the bag. I don't think Crossland's going to get any higher than maybe, say, 8th at a push. But Stapleford at the dying seconds of the qualifying session has pipped Regan Mitchell by 42 thousandths. Crossland now into the final corner. Let's see what he's able to muster with that car that's laden with 75 kilos of ballast. Goes P8 and drops Campbell down to 9th. But what a qualifying session. It was nip and tuck, and Robbie Stapleford has got it. But here comes Sean Campbell. Let's see if the Lamborghini has anything to say about the matter. Was 9th, goes P7 ahead of Bobby Trundley. Well, that just goes to show that things can happen. But I spy a couple of cars. Well, I think Dean Riley has actually aborted his lap. Stuart Ross French is going to be the last driver to complete the qualifying session. One of the two Red Shell Racing cars, the number 28, originates from these very parts in Australia and now lives in Leamington Spa working for Jaguar Land Rover. Out of the final corner through Murray's. Does Stuart Ross French improve? He goes 15th. But it is Robbie Stapleford from Zansho Simsport 2 that pips Regan Mitchell by 42 thousandths of a second. And it was Dean Riley. Martin Buchan 3/10 off the pace in the Lexus with no ballast. Nick Foster with a bit of ballast on his car puts it P5. Kieran Vidago, Chris Pinchbeck, Sean Campbell, Bobby Trundley and Charlie Crossland round out the top 10, covered by a second. What a qualifying session that was here at Mount Panorama.
That was a turn-up for the books. Robbie Stapleford in that pole position right at the last gasp there, and Regan Mitchell he'll be a little bit frustrated, but I don't think he's going to be too disappointed given the pace that he had in second place there. It's going to be a very, very fast top 10 in this race. But again, looking at the spread, Alex, it is really not all that bad, is it? I mean, 17 drivers within 2 seconds of your leader. This is going to be a tasty race.
Oh, and for the first time this season, let's see if we can go trackside, because I think we have the heavens with us. And what I mean by that is the weather, because it was cloudy, it was overcast during qualifying. I think we could have a very different set of weather conditions. And as they say, when it rains, it pours. It's wet, ladies and gentlemen. And there is your grid. 20 degrees air temperature, 20 degrees track temperature. And the rain is at least around for the next 15 minutes or so. Let's have a look at your grid for round 4 out of 8 for season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge by the merest of fractions. Robbie Stapleford puts it on pole position, alongside will be Regan Mitchell. Then you've got Dean Riley and the Scottish wonder that is Mr. Martin Buchan. Then we've also got Nick Foster and Kieran Verdago. It's Mercedes versus Ferrari on row number 3. It's a Lamborghini versus a Nissan Godzilla, of all things, trying to conquer the mountain with Sean Campbell and Bobby Trundley. That is row number 4. And completing the top 10, I spy 2 Fordzilla cars. So we've got Charlie Crossland and David Simon in the number 10 and the number 64 completing the top 10. Row number 6, it is Luke Pound and Rich Smith and the Nissan. So the Nissan's actually doing really, really well around the circuit here at Mount Panorama. Rich Smith in 12th, ahead of James Haskell from X-Kart Esports in the Honda NSX. Stuart Ross French 14th, Tim Lane in 15th, Paulo Tempera in 16th, ahead of Mark Neutelings, Bradley Brockies, Ben Brown, James Hall, Hamish Eisner, Charlie Purr, Max Spooner, Michael Tyler, Sandro Ballesteros, Daniel Hyde and Chris Wilson. Now I have noticed that we have got one car that is missing from the grid. I'm not 100% sure who has had it might be that Chris Pinchbeck has had he's trying to connect to the server, but we've got about 2 3/4 minutes until the rolling lap gets underway around this 6.213 kilometre circuit, opened back in March of 1938. It's hosted quite a lot of races, including the super cheap auto Bathurst 1000, the Liquid Moly 12 Hours, the Australian Touring Car Championship, amongst other things. And we couldn't really not exclude it from the calendar this season, could we, David?
Oh, absolutely not. It is like the pinnacle of GT3 racing tracks. It's the ultimate test of driver and machine, that harmony and trying to make sure that they're both in synergy with each other. And it takes a real effort. And for all of these drivers, if they can survive the race tonight, that is an achievement in itself.
Yep. So up until this point, 3 different race winners so far in season 3 of the championship. It was Dean Riley at the season opener back at Kyalami. Then at round 2, we found it was Dominik Alvarez that was the king of Monza at the Temple of Speed. And then Charlie Crossland conquered the Cheshire countryside. But now, who is going to be king of the mountain? Who is going to be the one that's going to put it all on the line, be millimetres away from the walls here at Mount Panorama? Well, in about 1 minute and 15 seconds, the drivers will be steeling themselves and getting themselves ready. And you can see now, the rain is starting to come down. David, the rain at Mount Panorama. Now, I remember a few years ago, a certain Shane van Gisbergen in effectively a Porsche 911 GT3 did an overtake round McPhillamy around 2 cars at 45 kilometers an hour on slicks. We're in for a roller coaster ride here tonight, aren't we?
I wouldn't be holding your breath for any of those sorts of shenanigans tonight. I think that might be a little bit much, but I'm going to hope that our production team of Mike Yao behind the scenes, we need to get a little graphic made up for a Bobby Trundley murder counter, because I think that might be needed tonight. We know how late he is on the brakes, and this is not a track that you can be late on the brakes in the wet at, but joking aside, I think Bobby's got a huge chance. That GTR is got a chance. It doesn't normally like the wet, but the other one is, I would normally be biased and make fun of Martin Buchan. I think he's got a serious chance at taking a really, really good win tonight.
One of the drivers that's going to have to sort of be a little bit on the sidelines, so to speak. Well, Dan Hyde, through a penalty after qualification for round 3, has to serve a drive-through penalty as they are starting to get things underway.
Alex, was it just me, or did Regan Mitchell just disappear there?
That's exactly what I was just about to say. You beat me to it.
Because of course, if he's not in the formation lap, he's either starting from pit lane or he's not here at all.
Well, that is one for the books, and I'm just keeping an eye on the GT Challenge Discord at the moment, just to see what happens. So Regan Mitchell is showing in the pit lane. Oh, all that effort has... Yeah, look, you can see it on the track map on the right-hand side. And that, for him, he's going to be absolutely... Well, I think furious is going to be the politically correct term, because now this changes everything. This gives an opportunity window to the likes of Martin Buchan, who was due to start behind Regan Mitchell. And Regan was on the front row alongside Robbie Stapleford. This gives an opportunity for a different winner tonight. And to be honest with you, I think the way that we've had 3 different race winners from 3 different races, we've got Success Ballast in for season 3. It has really spiced things up. And we've been talking about this on the previous shows previously, David, that we won't see until like rounds 6 and 7 when you get to Donington and Spa. You're really going to get an idea of who are going to be the real championship protagonists. Yeah,
and that's the closeness of this field that we've got to thank for that. Just to update you as well, number 76, Rich Smith, is also shown as in pit lane as well. So at the moment, shown as 2 cars in that pit lane. Now, that's the sim saying that doesn't actually mean that they are necessarily there and taking part in the race. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I'm absolutely gutted at that, because I feel like we've been robbed of an amazing start to this race, but it now falls to Dean Riley and to Martin Buchan to hold Robbie Stapleford to account.
Not only him, but also keep your eyes on Nick Foster and Kieran Vidago. Those 2 are also going to be factoring in. Sean Campbell, a last-minute shoe-in for Divario Corsa, picked up their first podium at Kyalami, the opening round of the season. He's going to be there. I mean, you know, Godzilla at the mountain. Bobby Trundley, we really need to say nothing less about that individual, well, nothing more about that individual in particular, and also the car he's driving. But this is going to be, I think, one of the trickiest starts for the season. I think, remember when we did SimGrid Sprint Cup Season 3, season opener, Donington Park? We had exactly the same weather conditions, didn't we?
We absolutely did, and we saw just how treacherous it was for these cars. I've got no doubt it's going to be a very similar matter here tonight at Bathurst, and you can see just how slowly Robbie Stapleford is taking this field along. He doesn't want to be waiting on that grid any longer than he absolutely has to, trying to get as much as much temperature and pressure into these tyres, Alex, as possible.
Yeah. So 60 minutes on the timer. Round 4 of Season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge about to get underway here at the mountain in New South Wales. Mount Panorama beckons as we wait. Oh, now there was Vidago going off ever so slightly there, but at least the good thing is they've got the ghosting function on so people can get into their respective positions. Right, I think that's very wise of what Dean Riley is wanting to do, because he's wanting to see what's going to happen. Right then. We've got 25 out of the 28 cars actually showing on the formation as Robbie Stapleford, pole sitter for round 4 out of 8, brings them through into the final corner here at the 6.2 Mount Panorama circuit. Are we ready? Just wait for it. And we are green. Now it's time to put the hammer down, and Stapleford gets a really good run, and Nick Foster threading the eye of the needle between Kieran Vidago and Martin Buchan, and Foster's already up into P3 behind Dean Riley as it's 3 abreast. Max Spooner in the middle of 2 eTeam BRIT Aston Martins as they make their way up Mountain Straight for the first time of asking, and Foster is looking rather racy. He's even looking up the inside into Quarry, but he has to back out of it. Vidago's on the inside of Buchan through that corner. Bobby Trundley is with them, and Trundley's already got past Sean Campbell. So Trundley using the weight advantage of that Nissan to get a little bit further ahead, and he got the job done on Sean Campbell rather early.
Yeah, he really, really did. Great to note as well that we've got both our our second place car and the other car back out on track as well. So Rich Smith back out there as well as the number 87. So great to see that. But yeah, I'm really surprised at this start, Alex. I was expecting more drama and more chaos, but these drivers really showing the ability and the talent that they've got in bounds.
Indeed, Luke Pound is in 9th position. He's ahead. That looks possibly to be in front of David Simon, right on board with Sean Campbell, who's got the number 4 of Kieran Vidago up ahead. There's Bobby Trundley scampering away into the distance like a scalded cat off a hot tin roof. Trundley is ballast free, and he's got the pace. He's showing it already as Sean Campbell has to slot in behind Kieran Vidago heading into the chase. And there is Luke Pound. He's all over the back end of Charlie Crossland as Simon's off and into the barriers. Oh my goodness me. David Simon's just had a massive tank slapper. It put him the right-hand front of the Mercedes into the barriers, and that has cost him big time.
That is going to have huge implications when it comes later on. But and that looked like a spin on the exit of Murray's Corner there. I think they just held on to it. Goodness me. But yeah, cracking effort so far from the first of them. And I think that David Simon's going to be really upset with that.
Yeah, I think you very much could be right on that one, David. But yeah, that just goes to show how difficult it can be, as now the Nissan's really coming into their own. Look at Luke Pound, he's trying to go around the outside of Kieran Vidago. That's not a place you normally see people overtake.
No, it really isn't. Really happy to see everybody exploring all the boundaries of the track here, Alex, and then some. It's one of those awesome tracks that it looks very narrow, and for most points it is, but in conditions like this, if you explore a little bit, you're maybe able to get a little bit more traction on a different line, as we see Kieran Vidago getting all sorts of shapes thrown there. Luke Pound just waiting to get on top, and a clip of the wall there, that's going to hand the position over.
Yeah, very close indeed for Kieran Vidago. I think he just grazed the wall, unlike Rich Smith, who during qualifying actually obliterated the wall, obliterated the right hand side. We've got a car yellow flags out. Looks to be the, I'm not too sure, that could be, that's Charlie Perp. It's that's actually at the, that's coming through McPhillamy. Oh my goodness, of one of the places, and he's lost it big time there. He's put the car into reverse, so now here comes looks to be Daniel Hyde, who's probably just who's served his drive-through penalty from round 3, as David Simon trying to close in on Mark Neutelings, and this is where the tow really comes into play for these cars coming down Conrod.
Yeah, it really, really does. It's so important to get a good run down here. But the thing is, as well, is you have to take your chances. We've got a car spinning sideways back onto the chart just in front. Was that Stuart Ross French, actually, just getting back on there? We'll get an idea on that in just a second. But that looked a little bit dramatic when you're coming down the hill there, Alex.
Yeah, and at that sort of rate of knots, as David Simon looking to the outside of Mark Neutelings, and that's coming through Murray's corner. The Mercedes has to slot back in behind. Max Spooner has made his way up into 16th position, so gunning for some more points. He's got Sandro Ballesteros as now Martin Buchan trying to go side by side. Now this is into Quarry along with Nick Foster. Foster gets the inside run. Buchan slots in back behind. Nice good battle between these two. We've always seen some great battling from Martin Buchan in seasons past, and here is no exception.
It really, really isn't. And up the inside then, so this is a cracking little battle we've got going on here. Martin Buchan just looks so calm and composed in that Lexus in the 666 machine just now. This is exactly what he needs to do. He just needs to keep calm, keep the pressure on, and then try and pick his way through, because he's got Dean Riley stretching off into the distance here if he can just dispose of Nick Foster.
Yeah, and Riley is about 2.2 seconds behind Robbie Stapleford, who's the fastest out on the track with the fastest lap of a 2-minute 8.280. We're on our third lap of racing, and Robbie Stapleford looking to extend that gap, but Nick Foster doing very, very well in the Zansho Simsport Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo, keeping ahead of the Lexus. But here is Bobby Trundy. Now, we did talk about Bobby having no ballast on that car, and I'm just having a look at the lap times. Bobby Trundley is comparable on pace with Martin Buchan, and now Bobby could have a little bit of a slipstream here if he plays his cards right. But Martin Buchan looks to the inside, all going through the chase, nose to tail, looking to the inside of the left-hander. Is he going to get the job done on Nick Foster? A little bit of curb, and Foster stays ahead and keeps the car planted around the outside of the 666.
Brilliant, brilliant fighting from these two here, and you're absolutely spot on with that observation, because Bobby Trundley now creeping closer and closer into this battle here with Nick Foster and Martin Buchan. We've only done 6.5 minutes here at Bathurst, and it feels like we've already done 20 with the amount of action that we've had so far, and you get the impression that this is either going to be an amazing move or one heck of an accident with these three. And have a look at the background as well. Sean Campbell in the 26 doing a really good job of looking menacing in that background in the number 26. So we go to a replay here.
Right, okay, this is from a little bit earlier on. Now, this is when Luke Pound was battling with Charlie Crossland. Yeah, just the back end snakes, you know, like literally touches the white line, and David Simon has a little bit of contact with the barrier. It was very superficial, and he manages to do a little bit of lawn mowing going through the second half of the chase coming through. But one of the interesting things now, David, look at the weather indicator. The rain might stop in the next 5 or so minutes, and that could allow the track to start evolving. Well,
it already has, because it's went from wet to damp, and I think obviously within the next couple of minutes you're going to see that rain dissipating and heading off. We've got a yellow flag on the track as well further down. Think that might be Hamish Eisner in the number 30. I'm not too sure from the track map there. It is the number 30 actually. Looks like he might be well and truly bedded into the wall here as we go for another replay here.
Yeah, that could be, I think that might be Tim Lane. I'm not too... Yeah, Tim Lane, the number 44. Oh, that was not... Oh my goodness me, full-on Tokyo drift going through that part of the chase. I mean, he had a bit of a tank slapper, caught the wall, and then all of a sudden caught the slide. Well held.
That's almost a carbon copy of what David Simon did, isn't it? It just lost the tail end there, and very lucky to hold on to it here. And what I'm noticing as well, Alex, is quite a lot of the drivers getting the tow, but not feeling comfortable enough to actually make the move or dive it up the inside. I wonder how that'll change with these evolving track conditions here. Let's have a look here. This is the number 6, just making its way. Again, it's as after the crest of that hill at the chase, where the balance of the car just lifts off and all of the traction lifts, so the car just swaps around on itself.
Yeah, that was Paolo Tempero in the number 8 Audi, the only Audi we actually have on this grid. But Stuart Ross French giving chase to Kieran Vidago, and the temperature has started increasing again. There's this almighty battle. Max Spooner's in there. David Simon's bumper and bonnet is askew. He's got Ben Brown right up his tailpipes, and there is, I think, I'm just wondering who that is just behind that. Isn't Aston Martin? That is Rich Smith.
It absolutely is, and look at that just in front as well, as we've got Max Spooner on the comeback drive right now against, who's that? Is that Sandro Ballesteros? So we've got contact again, and that is David Simon facing sideways, and it's a bad day going even worse.
Yeah, and that is that just goes to show how difficult it is, and to really muscle your way around the circuit, and when you have that kind of thing happen, it can really cost your race. And Simon glances the barriers there. We've got just under 10 minutes to go until the pit stop window opens for 20 minutes here, and the weather, ladies and gentlemen, has turned up and down on its head, and David Simon, that is going to be significant damage, and I think that could be a DNF, unfortunately, because it looks like we've already got 2. Hamish Eisner out, Charlie Purr out. I think David Simon could be number 3.
Yeah, that car is... I'm not so sure what the scrapping value is going to be for that car after the way that he's treating it just now. I think even duct tape and WD-40 has its limits, to be honest with you, Alex. That car is... it's frustrating when it's like this, because it just goes from bad to worse, and there's nothing you can do, and the frustration creeps in, because as much as you're trying to save yourself from yourself, it just happens. And you know, he's just found himself in the course of 2 accidents in half a lap. Yeah,
but I've also been looking at lap times at the moment, and Martin Buchan and Bobby Trundy are running on the 2-minute 7.7s. They are closing down on Nick Foster up ahead in 3rd place, and with the way that the track's evolving, it's going to come to the drivers that are going to be... I mean, look at how close Foster is to the wall. Knows this track very, very well indeed, but Martin Buck and Bobby Trundy are giving good account. They're actually keeping Nick Foster rather honest, aren't they?
Absolutely are, and this is a brilliant position for Bobby Trundley to be in now, because Martin Buchan slightly dropped away from the back of Nick Foster here, and instead of chasing him down, he's actually under pressure here from Bobby Trundley. This is huge. This could be a big 4th place for Bobby Trundley, and if he does get that, Alex, you wouldn't put it past him for taking Nick Foster as well.
Yeah, we still have 48 minutes still to go. Robbie Stapleford leads Dean Riley by 3.3 seconds. Then we've got this titanic trio battling away. Nick Foster, Martin Buchan and Bobby Trundy rounding out the top 5. Then it's Sean Campbell, Luke Pound, Stuart Ross French ahead of Kieran Vidago, Charlie Crossland still holding station in 10th place. In some respects, he'll be quite happy with regards to the next race at Snetterton, where he won't have any ballast to... Well, he'll actually have only 9 kilos of ballast rather than the full 75. And we know how quick he is in the Mercedes round at Snetterton through his previous exploits. And there's been a little bit of a drama I'm hearing between Max Spooner and Rich Smith, and Spooner gets a bit sideways coming out of Forest Elbow as he tries to apply the power, and Rich Smith will probably find him as easy prey, because now the Aston Martin has got the toe on the Lexus.
Yeah, I don't know though. Again, it's that whole thing of being too far back. You get a little bit of the toe, but not enough to actually make any real impact there. The other thing as well is that Dean Riley not getting away as much as I thought he would from Nick Foster, given that it's just 3 seconds between Stapleford, Riley, and then another 3 seconds back to Nick Foster. Yeah, this is not panning out the way that I thought it would.
Well, Dean Riley has just put in the fastest lap of anybody, 2 minutes 7.080. So, for those wondering about what prizes we do give away at the end of each race evening, we give away a bottle of Copperfield London Dry Gin to the race winner, and the fastest lap of the race goes to the driver. They'll also get a pair of eTeam BRIT IMB Racewear racing gloves to take to use as they see fit, whether it's for real life or even for racing on their sim. But now these three kept making their way through into Skyline, into the S's. Nick Foster tight to the wall, as is Martin Buchan and Bobby Trundley. No quarter has been given between either one of these three, and it looks to be waging on for possibly until the first one of these three drivers decides to blink and go into the pits, because we are 5.5 minutes away from that pit stop window opening. And Trundley has got the headlights ablaze, Mr. Christie.
Here we go, it's party time, it's hammer time, it's whatever you want to call it, but I also think that's because the light is fading quite fast here at 7:48 PM in sim time. Martin Buchan's got the run of all runs coming through the chase then. He's going to look to the inside, can't do anything of it, and Nick Foster is a bit of a cork in this bottle between Martin Buchan and Bobby Trundley, so light to blaze on all three cars there. This is going to come ahead very, very quickly indeed, you feel?
Yep. 15 minutes down, 45 to go. Stapleford leads by 3.8 seconds. Foster holding off as... Oh, Foster has a little bit of a moment there. He takes out one of the coffee ice break signs on the approach down to Hell Corner, but he manages to keep the foot stuck in on the throttle. That could have been a very disastrous moment, especially if the Mercedes had gone straight lining. Now, I've just seen... Did he just go on the grass again? I think he did.
Very, very slightly if he did.
Yeah.
He's a little bit close, but if he did, he's not really losing time, but he's getting perilously close to the wall here, Alex. I'm wondering if the tyres are already starting to feel a little bit under pressure from the amount he's having to work the car. They are. Look at how much he's losing in terms of pace here.
Yeah, and Bobby Trundley seems to have a good run on Martin Buchan, so I think here, out of these three drivers, the danger one out of all three of them is the one in 5th place. That's Bobby Trundley, because look at how Trundley's just absolutely manhandling the Nissan. Foster's struggling, but Buchan doesn't know whether to attack or defend as they go through Skyline of all places. Oh my goodness, Bobby Trundley nearly giving me a fright here in the commentary box. Bloomin' Nora.
I was going to say, did you just call Bobby Trundley a danger? It's like stating the most obvious thing in the
Well,
whole
I mean, he was a danger to everyone else when he got out in front in Daytona D-Max days, and him and Aaron Morgan have been doing a really good job this year in the Brit Car Endurance Series with the Aston Martin GT4. But yeah, I think Trundley's actually being a bit strategic, because he's actually backed off a little bit away from what's happening between Martin Buchan, as Buchan now goes towards the inside, and that's probably the move that he's been waiting for. But Nick Foster's got the inside run for the next left-hander. Foster still keeps it ahead. Well,
that's very, very intelligent driving from both of the drivers there as we cut back to the fight for 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th then. Sean Campbell, Stuart Ross French, Charlie Crossland and Kieran Vidago coming through the chase just now. It looks like a little bit of a gap here. Martin Buchan under all sorts of pressure now from Bobby Trundley as they come through Hell Corner then to start lap number 8, and it's on the run up the mountain straight then towards Quarry Bends, and it's like a yo-yo because Martin Buchan's trying to attack Nick Foster, but he's trying to defend against Bobby Trundley, and it's like, you know, where do you put your concentration right now, Alex?
Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. I've just seen that Stuart Ross French, has he ended up in the pits? Oh, okay, right. That is very, very weird indeed. I'm just going to check here as we speak, but look at how menacing Bobby Trundley is right now. Yes, Stuart Ross French is in the pits. I'm not too sure what's happened to him. Has he had a disconnect? That could be drama for him because he was running pretty well. He was running, what was it, ahead of Charlie Crossland?
Yeah, he was, and it was quite comfortable as well. I was just about to say that he was looking very, very comfortable ahead of them, and then yeah, it's something's obviously happened there, but we'll possibly get a replay of that. Look at how much though Bobby Trundley is catching down on Martin Buchan through the cutting here, and then in towards the S's, finally towards Forest Elbow. The car, you said he was manhandling it. You weren't kidding there. He is absolutely throwing that thing around within an inch of its life.
Right, just over 1 minute and 10 to go until the pit stop window opens for the 4th time out of 8 this season. And Dean Riley has started clawing back time. He's just taken a second out of Robbie Stapleford. Lead now down to just a fraction under 2.9 seconds as Martin Buchan, Nick Foster and Bobby Trundley, who are 4th, 3rd and 5th respectively, make their way through the exit of the chase and heading down towards Murray's Corner. And this battle here is one that's been rather pivotal.
Oh, Alex! Nick Foster, sorry to jump in. Nick Foster's had a moment at the chase. That's him behind now in 5th place. So Nick Foster has had a huge moment at the chase, recollects it and goes back down into 5th then.
Oh, well, it just really goes to show. And look at the back end, it's snaking to the right-hand side as he comes through. And we've just had a penalty being issued by race control. Car number 44, that is Tim Lane, I believe, for an unsafe rejoin. So he'll get a 5-second penalty added to his pit stop. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the pit stop window for round 4 here at Mount Panorama is officially open. So 20-minute pit stop window is now open as Nick Foster into the barriers, coming through the cutting. Oh, I think he's got no option but to pit now. That car is not handling well, and especially with that tank with the wall, I think Nick Foster just needs to get that car in ASAP.
You're absolutely spot on that one. There's nothing really he can do on that. It's a sitting duck as we see Mark Neuterlings having a cracking battle up the front straight there. That is the number 8 there, and Paolo Tempera doing a cracking job of holding on to that position from Mark Neuterlings, but you get a feeling that could come to a head on the back straight there. Just thinking about the battle with Martin Buchan as well with Bobby Trundley. I really like this new version of Bobby Trundley. It's this cool, calm, collected, precise driver that we've got right now, because he's doing a brilliant job of holding on to that position and keeping the 666 honest right now.
Yeah, very much the case. For those that are new to the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge and haven't heard of Robbie Stapleford before, well, he was running with Zansho Simsport, and if memory serves me correctly, David, he got promoted to Rocket Simsport based on his previous exploits. He's also a Simsport Racing GT3 champion. So Robbie Stapleford is a real good talent. And as I say that, both he and Dean Riley have been in the pits. They're in the pits now. Michael Tyler's been in the pits. Ben Brown has been in the pits. The floodgates have opened. Haskell, Hyde, Wilson, Hall, they're all in the pits. And look, the top 5 are all in the pits pretty much at the same time. It's game on for round 4.
This is where we can see some real undercuts going on. I've got a feeling Bobby Trundley could have a strong chance of doing the undercut on Martin Buchan here, given how close that gap was coming into the pit lane here. Robbie Stapleford and Dean Riley, I think, are a little bit more comfortable, being about 3 seconds back each. But yeah, I really would look out for the undercut here as we see Mark Neuterlings into the pit lane as well. In fact, pretty much everyone into pit lane this time by.
Well, apart from Charlie Crossland and Kieran Vidago, they've stayed out. Well, that's an interesting one for the books. Regan Mitchell is still out, having started from the pit lane. Stuart Ross French is actually back out on circuit, I believe. And he's going down, and he's actually going down Conrod Straight. And the good thing about the timing here, it actually indicates the speeds. And he's just hit 275 into the braking zone for the chase. So these drivers are not, if not, fully committed. And now Charlie Crossland, race 3 victor at Oulton Park, leads the way by about 4.8 seconds ahead of this man here. Kieran Vidago, who's all kinds of sideways going through Oulton Park. That was on the limit of the ragged edge of adhesion going through. And Sean Campbell has got a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. That has that's caused problems for his race, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want, given we're only halfway into, or not even halfway into the race, Alex. That is that pretty much torpedoes your entire race, doesn't it? There's not much you can do after that other than try and finish within the top 20 here. Just looking at the gaps between Bobby Trundley and Martin Buchan there, that's now up to 1.3 seconds. So I think Martin Buchan maybe having a slightly better stop on that occasion, but with 36 minutes left to go, it's still way too close to call right now.
The track is now greasy, and one of the biggest things you'll see on your screens right now, there is a definitive dry line, racing line that is, showing around the circuit. So the track has evolved very nicely through the last 7.5 to 10 minutes, and we're already seeing lap times going into the 2 minute 7.8s, but that's on sort of like the window of it. We're now like, you know, less than 16 minutes to go into the pit stop window. Oh no, James Haskell's just gone off, and that's coming out of Hell Corner. The NSX has just hit the barriers on the left hand side. If you were a driver right now and you see that it's greasy on the circuit, what's your tyre choice, David? What is your tyre choice?
Truthfully, slicks. I think it might be a bit early for it, but I think slicks was going to give you the biggest advantage, purely because once that track starts drying up, it'll start drying up very quickly indeed. You can see the dry line starting to appear just out of the corner there, and given that there's no rain forecast in the next 15 minutes, Alex, it's looking like the choice to do. So I think any drivers, if you've got to think they've all jumped on slicks. Surely that's the only way. Given, I mean, look at that dry line there. There's perfect conditions there to make hay while the sun shines. We'll see what happens with laps.
Yeah, that's the biggest bone of contention. What are the lap times going to be? Because already I'm seeing like still Kieran Vidago is running on a 2 minute 7.7, so I want to keep an eye on Martin Buchan, because that'll be a real indication of how quick the Lexus is around here. And we did see that it was very quick in qualification earlier on. Okay, still managed to put it on P4 outside of row 2, but that car seems to be handling really well, going through McPhillamy, now into Skyline under the Channel 7 news bridge, through into the S's, sparks flying from the diffuser. Looks like that car's handling really well. The track is coming to the drivers. It's now 8:10 p.m. and there is a yellow flag out on the circuit, and that looks to be possibly, I think that might have been the 23 there. But Martin Buchan now making his way down through Conrod. Just going to keep an eye on his indicated speeds at the moment. So he's pushing over now what is going to be 260 kilometers an hour. Into the approach, into the chase, he's pushing over 280. That looks to be a very good lap there from Martin Buchan. And already we're into the 2 minute 6.2s. Charlie Crossland's just put that in, and that's the fastest lap of the race. But Martin Buchan, what has the Lexus got in the tank? That's the biggest bone of contention I've got to pick with now as he comes out of the final corner and across the line. What's his lap time? It's a 2 minute 5.880. So the track is now evolving at a considerable rate of knots. That is at least that's 4.5 tenths of a second quicker at the very least ahead of Charlie Crossland. But when we were running in the 2 minute 7.9s earlier on, that is 2.1 seconds. So it is perfect weather now for dry tyres.
It really is, and unfortunately you were spot on in IDing that car that brought out the yellow flag at the top of the hill. It was indeed the 23 of Bobby Trundley, who lost several seconds to the 666 then of Martin Buchan. So I wonder if that car is carrying some heavy damage. It was a 221 that last lap there for Bobby Trundley. So yeah, that is a significant off for him, and that could be put paid to any real chance he had today.
Well, there's still 32 minutes and 25 seconds left to go, David. Anything is possible, but he's going to probably find that Nick Foster is closing in, and now the blue flags are waving. So Wilson gets out of the way. I think that's possibly Dan Hyde just up ahead in the number 2 car. And Foster will need to get past him rather sharpish. and has done so, flashing the lights aplenty. And then Wilson up the inside of Hyde to take 22nd position. We ride on board with the number 13 from Zansho Simsport, currently sitting in 8th position. The gap between him and Bobby Trundling now just a fraction over 1 3/4 seconds.
Brilliant race that we've got so far here. Everything I think that we could possibly have expected from this race. A little bit more, Alex, given the fact that it's such a commanding lead there at the front for Charlie. Well, not for Charlie Crossland, excuse me, because obviously he's still to do a pit stop. But for Robbie Stapleford, 2:05.181 that last lap round. He's firmly got his foot around the throat of this race. Really strong performance from Robbie, and it's very difficult to see anyone challenging him. Championship-wise, huge points on offer for him.
All I'm going to say is you might want to get the Jaws music out for Dean Riley, because he's just gone fastest of anybody. 2:04.886. He was fastest up until just now in sectors 1 and 2, until Martin Buchan stole his sector stole his thunder in sector 1, I might add, by about 1/10 of a second. But Dean Riley is about 2.5 seconds away from Robbie Stapleford, so I don't think you can count out Dean Riley at all. And look at it this way, Riley won the opening round of the season. He's now got an opportunity to come firing back. He had no points at his home round at Oulton Park in Cheshire 4 weeks ago. He's out to prove a point, and this could help him in the championship fight with the likes of Sean Campbell, with Charlie Crossland, who leads the way. So that's a nice little move there from Sandro Ballesteros on the inside of Ben Brown. Or is Brown going to get back past? Or there's Tank. They've had a bit of a door check between the pair. They have exchanged a little bit of paint, and Ben Brown stays ahead in 14th.
Decent effort though from Sandro Ballesteros, you've got to say, for the eTeam BRIT Aston Martin in the 19. It was a good effort, just didn't quite work out. Ben Brown decided that he wasn't quite willing or ready yet to let that position go, but with light fading here at Bathurst, that track now, I mean it's almost impossibly dry on there right now. No wet weather forecast at all now. I would imagine now for the rest of the race, but it looks like a little bit of low clouds starting to sink in here in Mount Panorama.
So just under 9.5 minutes to go in the pit stop window for round 4 out of 8 for season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. Charlie Crossland leads at the moment, but has yet to serve his mandatory pit stop. I don't think neither he nor Kieran Vidago have done so, so they're going to be at the mercy of those behind, which will effectively make Robbie Stapleford de facto leader once again. But Dean Riley is closing. The gap now is about 2.3 seconds, 2.361 seconds there, and he's just put in a 2:04.644. I think now that because of the fact that Dean Riley, he's got no ballast, Robbie Stapleford running with 27 kilos, I think it's Stapleford's to lose tonight.
I think you're absolutely spot on with that one, but whether or not he can actually do anything with that, I mean, the pace that he's gaining from Dean Riley is minute. It's like a couple of tenths every couple of laps. That might be enough in the long run to get him onto the toe, but I think that Robbie Stapleford, I think that car will come online fully, and he'll be able to really put the hammer down on it. And that is quite a dramatic scene there at Mount Panorama, isn't it? With the cloud really starting to close in.
Well, I think I just saw James Hall going exit stage left through that shot just a second ago. That's definitely not what you want to do. Tim Lane looks to be in the pit, so is Stuart Ross French. So at the moment, Max Spooner has yet to pit. Stuart Ross French is serving his pit stop now. Regan Mitchell started from the pit lane, qualified P2, currently 6th, has yet to serve his pit stop. And I think also the last two are Charlie Crossland and Kieran Vidago. And there is Robbie Stapleford getting past James Haskell from X-Kart Esports. And there is Crossland in the pits. And Stapleford will be coming through the final corner, so he will regain 2nd place. But Vidago has stayed out. Now, this is probably one of the most brazen chances that Kieran Vidago has to stay ahead of Robbie Stapleford. But look at it from this perspective here, David. Stapleford is only like 10.7 seconds behind. The minute Vidago pits, he knows he's a sitting duck, and he knows that Stapleford, Riley and Buchan will probably be in front of him.
It's still nice for the socials, isn't it, to be leading the race halfway point into the race. It's what it is. I mean, obviously Vidago knows that he'll go shuffling down the order. Realistically, I think he'll end up coming out about maybe 6th position. But I'm impressed to see what position Regan Mitchell is going to come out at, because he's currently in 6th position. Granted, he's got a pit stop to do, Alex, but he started dead last. Dead slow and last from the pit lane, I might add, as well. And to get himself up to that position, I think he's got potentially a top 10 finish in the bag. And if he does, I'm sorry, that is one of the drives of the day right there.
Well, the funny thing is, there's Charlie Crossland. Who's right with him? Is that Trundy and Foster, I believe? If that's the case, then Charlie Crossland. Yes, it is. That's Nick Foster. There's Bobby Trundley, Piggy in the middle, and we got 6 minutes to go on the pit stop window. Oh, another race that another battle that we're really enjoying now, because it's Foster versus Trundley versus Crossland. They've all pitted. Trundley and Foster's tyres are up to temp. Crossland's got cold tyres on at the moment, but he's still managing. Look, even with 75 kilos of ballast, he's managed to get away a little bit from Trundley.
He's absolutely gapped the pair of them. Goodness me, this is awesome pace there from Charlie Crossland, and he needs this though. He needs this to get these valuable championship points, Alex. Currently leading the championship so far, and 56 points ahead. He's about 18 points ahead of Sean Campbell in second. So he needs to minimise the damage where possible, because of course Campbell's having a really poor race so far, down in 15th position. But it's Robbie Stapleford that has the big wins, and there goes Bobby Trundley and Nick Foster. And hold your breath, Alex, because here we go.
Well, I'm not going to hold my breath, because I was holding my breath for something else. Martin Buchan's just got in fastest of anybody. 2-minute 3.579. So the 666 from eTeam Divario, gunning for their first podium of this season as we ride on board with Sean Campbell. Headlights ablaze, and there is the back end of the number 19 of Sandro Ballesteros as they go through McPhillamy Park into Skyline. Aston versus Lamborghini, as Vidago has pitted with just 4.5 minutes of the pit stop window to go. But my oh my, there are battles up and down the order. Sparks flying from the diffuser as they go through the dipper from the back end of the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. And Regan Mitchell is going to be more than likely the last driver, I think, to pit at this moment. Well, hang on a second, I'm just having a look here. Hamish Eisner. So there's Vidago. He's going to be outside of the top 10. Looks to be 11th position. But look at this battle between Campbell and Ballesteros. It is waging on. Eisner's yet to pit in 25th position. But as the darkness falls here at Mount Panorama, you've got to have your eyeballs on stalks.
You really do. This is now the dangerous time, Alex, with light fading, your visual points fading as well, and Sean Campbell right up to the back end of Sandro Ballesteros. It becomes way too easy to get danger close to the cars in front of you, miss your braking point, and give them a little love tap, which could leave you at vulnerable to the stewards and the wrath of them. But 3 minutes to go in the pit stop window, and that was another yellow flag that was brought out. I've got a feeling that was Bobby Trundley brought one out as well, but there's another yellow flag separately from
Hamish Eisner in the number 30, and Sean Campbell round the outside through Quarry Bend on Sandro Ballesteros. Oh my goodness, has anyone got the defibrillator on standby? Because that was a beauty of a move right there. Fantastic
stuff there, and that was a little bit of boot in mouth for me, because you said about seeing a move around the outside. I was like, no, I don't think you're going to see anything like that tonight. Well, there we go. That's exactly what you want to see from Sean Campbell.
You can put your foot back in your mouth again, David.
That's what it usually is.
Well, as I say, that Regan Mitchell is now in the pit, so that is going to put Charlie Crossland into P4. So the way things stand, just having a look at the lap times at the moment because we've got 22 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Robbie Stapleford has a slender 3.5 second lead over Dean Riley. Martin Buchan looking for his first podium of the season for eTeam Vasaro. And Max Spooner sitting down in 20th position. It's not been a great one as Regan Mitchell was shown to be in the pits. Now, Mitchell down in 7th place behind Crossland, Foster and Trundley. Looking at Trundley's lap times, he's running in the 2-minute 4.8s and Foster's running in the 2-minute 3.6s. So quite a lot of things happening around this circuit, and it's not been easy. And I think Sean Campbell's got to keep it on the black stuff rather than trying to go to the limits of adhesion on the track.
Yeah, and that is exactly what it's all about with the last 20 minutes of this race. The great thing is, Alex, is that these cars and drivers get another lease of life with the new boots on, the new tyres on. They can feel a little bit more comfortable. And that's really when Bathurst strikes, is when you have that false sense of security and you start pushing that little bit more. That is when the bad things start to happen. But for the most part, we're seeing some huge lap times coming in. We're already, as you said, down into the 202s. Dean Riley, 202.805. And this is a replay then of the number 44 having a huge moment of Force elbow. And poor Tim Lane is going to feel that one in the morning.
Well, he needs to take 2 paracetamol with that, I'm afraid. David Simon has just piped in the chat. He said, I'm still waiting for repairs on my car. He pitted on lap number 5 of this race after that massive moment. So that car's not going anywhere, unfortunately, for David. He's going to have to come back and fight another day, as we've got another yellow flag out briefly. But the pit stop window for round 4 here at Bathurst is about to close in 10 seconds time. We've got another replay here. This is Hamish Easner. Now this is heading up towards Solomon and McPhillamy. Into the left-hander goes the Lamborghini. Oh, and that's through into the cutting. And the front end hits the wall. Yellow flags are out. Easner reverses. And that is one of the eTeam BRIT Aston Martin cars. Gets through. That probably might have been Ballesteros there. But the pit stop window closed officially as of 20 seconds ago. And now it's a flat out 19.5 minute sprint race to the end as nightfall has settled in well and truly. And Regan Mitchell trying to go round towards the outside through Quarry Bend on Mark Neutlings. This is a battle for 8th position as Neutlings runs a little bit wide. Mitchell's got through.
Brilliant move there. And Regan Mitchell, I'm sorry, but that is outrageous stuff. 8th position. What a drive. It's safe to say that's going to be the last place he gets, given that Smith is 29 seconds up the road. Granted, if somebody else has an instant further up, but look, I'm absolutely in awe of Regan Mitchell in the 69 machine. 8th position from pit lane starting. That is just impressive, to say the least.
Not just him, but Rich Smith is a position ahead of him. Chris Pinchbeck is saying, I'm so gutted I lost connection. He's only just got his PC back and connected. That's a real shame. And now we ride on board on Robbie Stapleford in the 81. Now heading through into the further part of the into the real testing part. He's already made his way through the cutting. Now into Griffin's Mount, and then through into, we're going to be heading into the faster stuff here. And he's got one of the Cam Sport Fire cars. That is Ben Brown just up ahead in the 22. Through into Solomon. And now into McPhillamy, 4th gear. He's pushing the best part of over 140 miles an hour as Ben Brown runs wide as they go through into Skyline. And hopefully Ben did not clatter into any tyre barrier or any wall thereof. 2nd gear, and you can actually see the amount. Look at the amount of input from a steering perspective that Robbie Stapleford is putting in. He's down into 1st gear. Now coming through Forest Mount. Forest Elbow, and then going down Conrod Straight. I mean, this is just showcasing how much of a well, it was an unknown quantity in some respects for the uninitiated out there, but for you and me here, when we saw that Robbie Stapleford was joining the championship, there was a definite buzz from the commentary position, wasn't there?
Yeah, there really was, and it's difficult to forget that he came on board, and what I mean, literally, what a super sub that Robbie Stapleford has been. He's really injected an air of energy and excitement into the championship. And our production team, Alex, you heard that there as well. Is that absolutely spot on? Is he only 15 years old?
Yeah, a big thank you to 15 years of age. Oh my God, I feel like...
I know, right? That just instantly makes me feel so depressed.
Shall I get my walking stick out now, Dave? That's what I feel like I need. But now we're back on board, this time with Stuart Ross French, who is going to be battling away with Sandro Ballesteros. So it's Aston versus Aston Martin. So the top 15 do score points. But the top 10 are the ones that get hit with the ballast for the next time out at Snetterton, which will be the full 300 layout in 4 weeks' time. But Stuart Ross French also very knowledgeable around this circuit, but also getting very close to the walls in his own right, and he's pushing like crazy, and he's lost a bit of time there going through into McPhillamy.
He really, really has. And Alex, this is one of those tracks where momentum is just so important as they come up to what looks like a lapped car in front of them. That's going to slow them down. And just gets out of the way. That looked like a Lamborghini, I think, there, with significant damage, actually. And I've also just noticed that Hamish Eisner hasn't actually taken his mandated pit stops.
She hasn't taken a mandated pit stop, but granted that she's actually been in the pits for a little bit of time. That was Dan Hyde that was actually in front of them, as Stuart Ross French gets the launch down Conrod Straight. Sandro Ballesteros to his inside, but Stuart Ross French has gotten through into the chase, hard on the brakes. Is he going to make the apex? He is, and Ballesteros was definitely the last of the late breakers, got really close to the back bumper of him.
Just watching the cars come round here, and Stuart Ross French. It's a great view from the back end of that Red Shell Racing machine there, the number 28, and Sandro Ballesteros just behind as they come into turn number 1. Looks like a very wide line from Stuart Ross French, and that gives the advantage really to Sandro Ballesteros coming out of that corner on the run up to Quarry Bend. And again, as I was saying earlier, momentum is so key, especially now that the track is completely up to speed. It's at optimum. It's now where you're going to get your really fast times coming in. And quite honestly, with 15 minutes left to go now, this is looking very good for Robbie Stapleford. The gap now stabilised at 4.4 seconds. But the fastest man on the track, I think, potentially this lap round could be Regan Mitchell. He did a purple sector 1, and it was an average sector 2 and 3. If he can get them hooked up, he did a 2:03.036 last lap round. That's just a stone's throw away from Charlie Crossland's 2:02.7.
Yeah, Charlie Crossland's got the fastest lap in the bag at the moment, with 13 minutes and 45 seconds still remaining. But Regan Mitchell has just gone into the 2:01s, a 2:01.341. The number 69 Ferrari currently sitting in 7th position, a long distance behind Bobby Trundley. But you can see here that Daniel Hyde is ahead. Well, there's quite a few cars behind. I'm not too sure who's just behind him. I think that might be Bobby Trundley. Oh, that's a little bit of a wiggle there. No, that's actually Luke Pound. My apologies there. Then you've got Ben Brown, who's had to go avoiding to the right-hand side. There's Martin Buchan trying to get through. Oh my goodness me. This is what I said about eyeballs on stalks. Even if you're back marking traffic, you've got to watch out for those drivers around you, because you make one wrong mistake, as Ben Brown just absolutely wallops the curbs going through into the entry point of the chase. And who's just gone straight on? Was that Ben Brown?
Yep, he flipped the curb, unsettled the car, completely missed his braking point, and he is off into the gravel, out of the race. And that is, again, an example of how quickly, Alex has said, you can go from hero to zero in the space of 5 seconds.
And especially in the dark as well here at Mount Panorama, you can just see how quickly things can turn on a sixpence. Kieran Vidago was at the sharper end of the grid. He's currently running in P11 as we have just 12 and a quarter minutes left to go. Robbie Stapleford on his 23rd lap leads Dean Riley by about 3.2 seconds. Martin Buchan rounds out the top three ahead of Charlie Crossland, the current points leader coming into this round. I think he will more than likely extend his championship advantage going into Snetterton in 4 weeks' time. Nick Foster making his return to the championship, currently P5, but Bobby Trundley is closing in on him. The gap now is just over 7.5 tenths of a second, and Bobby Trundley just took 9 tenths out of Nick Foster.
Well, this is starting to get a bit exciting, isn't it? As we've got a replay. This is Ben Brown coming through the chase, and you can see he just absolutely clatters that curb on the right-hand side, unsettles the car, and he has no way of getting that car stopped in time. I actually wonder, right, that is a little bit strange, because he does try to get it going again, and then the car just bogs down. So I wonder, either has he given up, or has he had a hardware failure?
Yeah, it could have been a hardware or a software failure. Maybe the server kicked him out, who knows. But there is Bobby Trundley. Look at those sparks flying from that diffuser going through Oulton Park. He's on the ragged edge once again, half a second behind Nick Foster, and oh, he's nearly off going through Skyline. Oh my goodness, he was pushing. He thought, right, I've possibly got fifth in the bag, and that just goes to show once again how hard, when Mount Panorama bites, it bites pretty damn hard.
It really does, doesn't it? And 10 minutes left to go. Now, what has happened with Robbie Stapleford and Dean Riley? Why is that gap down to 2.7 seconds? That was about 4 seconds a couple of laps ago. Is it because Stapleford's across traffic? It would appear so, and Riley's got that same traffic coming up shortly, but that gap has come down quite significantly there, Alex.
Well, they're just going through, I think it's going through Quarry Bend, and Stapleford hasn't got traffic in front of him that much. They've just gone through past the number 28. That is Stuart Ross French. So the good thing is we've got 10 minutes of the race still to go. I think Riley, if he gets... So, yeah, you're just going to see very shortly. Let's see if we can see how... Yeah, you can just see how much closer Riley is getting now, going through into Skyline. We think Robbie Stapleford isn't that far ahead. Oh, I saw a glimpse of the back end of the McLaren just then, going through into the dipper.
It's definitely getting much closer now. This is awesome, as Kieran Fidalgo gets a 5-second penalty in the number 4 Ferrari. But look, with 10 minutes left to go, this is getting a bit spicy now. I'm liking this. Well, considering the fact that Dean Riley took half a second out of Robbie Stapleford, I think the track's come to the Aston Martin. You know, look at it from this perspective: 27 kilos of ballast that Robbie Stapleford has been running with. Dean Riley has got nothing to lose but everything to gain. He's got no ballast on that car, and the thing is that one of the biggest things is what are the settings on the respective cars? How much fuel has Robbie Stapleford got in that car? Is he having to fuel save a little bit? Gap now down to 2.5 seconds. I think it's game on, because we could either see one of two things happen tonight, David. We either see a 4th race winner from 4 successive races, or we see our first 2-time winner of the championship. Well, it's going to be a night of firsts either way, and we've only got 8.5 minutes left to go to find out, Alex. And yeah, this has got a very different complexion of the finish. It was looking very cool, calm and collected for Robbie Stapleford, but maybe a little bit of pressure now that he hasn't had so far through the race, just mounting up. And again, they're going to be coming up on some lap traffic. In fact, Robbie Stapleford straight onto the back. I think that is the 105 of Bradley Brockies now that he's got in front of him. Oh, and a little bit of clip of the wall from Bradley. That's going to hold up Robbie just ever so slightly. This is starting to get a bit sketchy here. I've just seen, there's Dean Riley. Dean Riley's now going to try and, Brockies has got to get out of the way. Riley's flashing the lights. Good spatial awareness on that particular occasion. That could be the underside of the suspension that's just caused all those sparks to fly. They're getting a bit more prevalent now in the nighttime sky, as the service time now approaching 9:05 in the evening here at Mount Panorama. Darkness very much sets in. It's a bit of a reverse of the Liqui Moly 12 hours,
whereby they start at like 5 in the morning and it's pitch black, and then it goes into the daytime. Whereas here tonight, we've ended up into the night time, and the gap now 2.3 seconds. And who's going to be the bravest of the brave? I'm just keeping an eye on their entry speeds into the chase. Dean Riley was a little bit quicker through the chase and also a bit harder on the brakes. So I think now that Stapleford is going to be a little bit, I wouldn't say worried. I think he's going to be aware of now. He'll see that Riley's right there with him, and the gap now is what, 2.2 seconds. It's about how hard Riley can push in the next 6.5 minutes to close that gap down to Robbie Stapleford, as Bradley Brockies now ends up in the pits.
Yeah, I think Bradley Brockies is going to be out of the race there. He's lost the position that he was in. But yeah, look, Dean Riley is absolutely giving it everything that he possibly can, and rightfully so. You can see that 81 of Robbie Stapleford just up the corner. They're coming through Quarry Bend for the 25th time of asking, and it's the Simsport Racing Noir driver who has got all of the cards up his sleeve right now. I think the word I would use is potentially rattled for Robbie Stapleford, but he could also be just managing the pace. He could very easily have this within his grasp. There's certainly, it doesn't look like there's going to be any more traffic. In fact, I take that back. There's the 26, is it, of Sean Campbell, and the number 85, I believe that it is, just up in front, if there is such a thing. Squinting at my little timing map.
That's 88. That's Charlie Purr, who's rejoined the race in 25th position. So they're going to come up going through Forest Elbow, and literally the thing is that probably what they've had to do is they've had to back off slightly because they don't want to run into the back of the opposition. Now there you can see, look, that's on the same straightaway. There is Dean Riley in second position, and Robbie Stapleford, what's the distance? It's now less than 2 seconds, 1.9. So yeah, I think the word rattle could be probably the best adjective you might want to use there, David. But now Riley has this chance, and he could really put the wind up the sails of one Charlie Crossland if he gets a victory. If he gets second here tonight, it's still 20 points. And the good thing is that they can have a drop round at the end of the season, which is, so it's the best 7 out of 8 scores through the season, and that could mean that Dean Riley's at 0 at Oulton Park could be thrown like water under the bridge.
Let's have a think about this then, Alex. 4.5 minutes left to go, 1.8 seconds, and the gap closing by half a second a lap. What do we think is going to happen as Kieran Vidago get a little bit scary out there? He's pushing a little bit too hard in that Ferrari.
Yeah, and he's actually closing in on Paolo Tempera, but the thing is that Vidago will need to pass Tempera and then get a 5 second time advantage to stay ahead. Now that's easier said than done with just under 4 minutes on the clock to go. Again, the interval between Robbie Stapleford and Dean Riley, half a second a lap. We've got 3 minutes and 40 to go. We're running at 2-minute laps. I think Riley's really got to pull something out of the magician's hat right now, but he's as Paolo Tempera now right on the back. Is that Mark Neutelings? That is. What on earth has happened to Mark Neutelings in the meantime? Oh my goodness, 3 wide in the night, and there goes Kieran Vidago on the inside of Mark Neutelings. There's Paolo Tempera. Talk about fire and brimstone in the middle of the night here at Mount Panorama. It's 3 wide coming down Conrod Straight. I've never seen that before.
Wow, that was scary stuff, but what absolute respect from all the drivers. What ability to keep things going, keep things on the black stuff, and keep things the right way up. I'm also keeping an eye on that battle now because that looks like the number 81 of Robbie Stapleford right on the back of one of the lap cars. In fact, that's the 88 that's just moved out the way, but now on the back of that, I think that's 28 of, is that Stuart Ross French, or is that 26 of Sean Campbell just up in front of them? We'll keep an eye here, but this is still side by side coming up the back straight here. The two of them fight out. That is Paolo Tempera and Kieran Vidago. This is a proper heavyweight bruiser match going on right now, and neither one of these cars wants to give up, and a little bit of flashing lights from Kieran Vidago in frustration.
Forget the rumble in the jungle with George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. You've now got the rumble at the mountain here at Mount Panorama, as it's all flotsam and jetsam as they're trying to get past Chris Wilson. Kieran Vidago does get through after the Audi of Paulo Tempera, who's looking on course for his best finish of the season, the Portuguese driver in 9th place. 2 minutes to go, and I'm just now going to see where is Robbie Stapleford and Dean Riley. The gap now down to 1.8 seconds. They're just about to go through Reed Park and then into Solomon, then McPhillamy. So we are pretty much, I think, on our penultimate lap. We're on lap number 28 out of 29. As a little bit sideways to the right-hand side for Paulo Tempera. Kieran Vidago using the old flashing lights technique to try and keep ahead. But the thing is that Vidago, even with the 5-second time penalty post-race, will end up behind Mark Neutelings and will end up in 11th position at the flag provisionally. But Vidago, not one to be scuppered, looks towards the inside, going through into the chase of Paulo Tempera. Has he got the pace on Vidago? Or the pair clash and Vidago exits stage left. Oh no, it's all gone horribly wrong for Kieran Vidago, but he's still going to probably end up at around 11th position as we have 60 seconds on the clock remaining. Dean Riley, what's the gap between him and Robbie Stapleford? I think it's still very much stabilised at 1.8 seconds. Good to see that Andreas Pettersson is enjoying the stream as well. But that was a real shame because that was a great battle between both Tempera and Vidago. But our leaders are now about to start what is going to be the 29th and final lap of this race, because we've got 30 on the clock to go. The gap between Stapleford and Riley now has been extended to 2.2 seconds. Regan Mitchell at the moment still has the fastest lap in his pocket as we are 15 seconds away. Oh, that's a bit of a glance on the wall going through Reed Park by Bradley Brockies. The leaders now making their way through into Quarry Bend as Brockies now battling away with Max Spooner as Brockies runs wide going through into Skyline. That's a bit of a Code Brown moment right there. But it has been a pretty interesting 1 hour race. We had the rain to start. It all then decided to peter out. The rain went away. We still had clouds up ahead, but now we're at an optimum track. And it was wet tyres to start, slicks to finish, as Brockies and Spooner going through Forest Elbow for what could be their penultimate time, as the timer has officially struck 0. But the lead now, there's been a massive development because Robbie Stapleford has got the light at the end of the tunnel that he wanted. Dean Riley is a bit further than 2.2 seconds behind because Robbie Stapleford coming out of Forest Elbow for what is going to be the final time of the race. And he's done exactly what he needed to do. There he is, the number 81 running in P1. Riley is about 1.9 seconds adrift as Stapleford down Conrod Straight for the final time. 29 laps about to be completed. And we ride on board with the Zansho Simsport 2 driver. And by the end of this, nearly 180 kilometres of driving will have been done on this tarmac. But it's going to be 4 from 4 as Zansho Simsport 2's Robbie Stapleford out of the final corner. Pole position earlier on, and he takes the checkered, denying Dean Riley a second win of the season by 3.7 seconds. Martin Buchan very shortly will come across the line. There he is. It's going to be a maiden podium after 4 races of trying. Martin Buchan out of the final corner, and he gets a podium for eTeam Vasara. The Lexus came good here tonight at Mount Panorama. Charlie Crossland will extend his championship lead. He's now making his way under the Maguire's Bridge through into Murray's Corner. Sparks flying from the back end of the Mercedes. He will extend his championship lead. Takes 4th at the end of it all. Nick Foster back once again in the saddle. The number 13 from Zansho Simsport under the Liquid Moly Bridge. Through into the left-hander here at Murray's. And he's going to round out the top 5. Sean Campbell in 12th. Stuart Ross French in 13th. And Bobby Trundley does a P6. So nearly could have been a top 3 finish for the Team BRIT driver. Regan Mitchell from pit lane to 7th position. And What's more, he is the man with the fastest lap of anybody in this race, a 2-minute 0.009, and that gives him the fastest lap award of the race. And we still have a battle here. Now this is... Oh, hang on a second. Well, Rich Smith is going to be on his way from pit lane to 8th position, but there is Paolo Tempera, has gotten ahead of Mark Neuslings. Well, I never. Paolo Tempera looking at a top 10. And Paolo Tempera, the Portuguese driver, is about to come through out of the final corner, and he's going to pit Mark Neuslings to P8 at the end of it. Kieran Vidago will cross the line, finishing in 10th, but 4 from 4, David Christie. Where on earth do we start from on that race?
Well, that was an absolute belter, as we would say up here. That was a fantastic race. Robbie Stapleford held honest until the end there. And, you know, credit to Dean Riley. It was coming across Dan Hyde at the end, the number 2 car. Lap traffic, worst possible time, extended the gap. And, yeah, look, Robbie deserves all the credit for tonight. It was a great race, great extension of get some more championship points. And, look, it's difficult to see past Robbie for the remainder of the season. The quality is on another level. And it is very, very difficult, but huge props as well to Martin Buchan getting his podium tonight.
Yeah, indeed. So 4 different winners from 4 different races. The streak continues here. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it, David, with the previous season?
It does. It's like deja vu, isn't it? Except it's I think that this season, though, is hands down way more intriguing. I think there's way more moving parts behind the scenes, Alex, and yeah, it gives itself a storyline as we hit the halfway mark of the season. Yeah, who knows what is going to happen in these final couple of races.
Right, well, hopefully... well, actually, let's get things underway with our interviews. Let's bring him in, the youngster from Zansho Simsport, our 4th respective race winner. Let's bring in Robbie Stapleford. Well, Robbie... Firstly, congratulations. Good to have you join us a little bit earlier on when you were substituting from the other Zansho guys, but you came into your own here tonight. Pole position decided by a whisker, and you took the victory after what was a very topsy-turvy race. Well done tonight.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I had so much fun. The change of conditions at the start was great. It definitely made you think, and then you had to try and keep the wets a bit cool because the track was drying really quick. And obviously, because you had a tyre pit window, you just had to try and edge them ever so slightly closer to the pit window. And as soon as the pit window opens, pit straight away. And then we pulled, and then it came out of the pits, and like 2 laps, I started flirting with the walls, and then eventually I hit up, got like 20 seconds of damage. And then I was like, well, I just need to try and keep this gap to Dean. And then luckily the back markers kept on getting in the way, sort of thing. And yeah, I brought it home.
Yeah, I mean, just a fantastic job. I mean, did you think that at some point that Dean had an opportunity that he might be able to close the gap in? But it really, we were thinking, oh, hang on, it's like 2 seconds. He was taking half a second a lap out of you. Was it more a case of just bringing the car home and just conserving it, not making any mistakes?
Bringing the car home, not making any mistakes. I think markers play a really down this track because it's so hard. If you catch them over the mountain, it's so hard to get by them, so it's just catching them at the right times. And I think if there weren't no back markers or we was at a different track, it probably would have caught me, definitely.
Well, Robbie, well done. I know you're going to have a bit of a difficult task ahead of you. 75 kilos at Snetterton in 4 weeks' time. You looking forward to the challenge?
Definitely. I was there last night with 0, so it'll definitely be a challenge seeing what's different between 0 and 75. So.
Well, Robbie Stapleford, our Race 4 winner for Season 3. Well done tonight.
Cheers, Alex.
Okay, big thank you to Robbie. David, I'll hand it over to you to have a chat with our runner-up tonight, our winner at Round 1 at Kyalami, Mr. Dean Riley.
Thank you very much there, Alex and Dean. Welcome along. What a race you had tonight, and you must have been really excited towards the end there in in bringing him up. And I've just realised Dean Riley's just popped out the interview booth. We'll bring him back in, and we'll try and start that one again. Right, now we've got you back in properly, Dean. A very good evening. You must have been licking your lips towards the end there, because that was getting very, very close between you and Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I could have him, but I just couldn't get through the traffic at all. It was either, he'd lose a second, I'd lose a second, and then, yeah, I think we couldn't actually get close enough to really start fighting, and I think I had a tiny bit more pace, but yeah, it was difficult to get close. I think I got to like 1.4, 1.5 seconds, and then back markers come, and it felt better for him that time, and yeah, I think we both got difficult passes and then good passes at certain points.
On that note then, race-wise, it was quite a quiet race for you, Dean, because you were in second place for almost the entirety of the race, but it was almost a 3-second buffer to Robbie and a 3-second buffer to whoever was in third, because it finished with Martin Buchan, but realistically, at one point it could have been any one of three drivers. How easy was it to keep the concentration by yourself?
It's very easy. I mean, this is my favourite track. Yeah, I generally don't have too much trouble around here. I can just cruise around. The difficulty is actually going slower. It's easier to really push and be aggressive, but to actually slow it down and tone it down a little bit is really difficult around here. So getting caught up is actually something you don't really want. You just want to be in your flow and pushing as hard as you can at all points. I think I find that the easiest way around here.
And finally, obviously some valuable championship points now for you, and that towards the second half of the season, that really puts you in a very good position. Are you going to be approaching the rest of the races with that in mind, or are you just going all guns blazing as you usually do?
I mean, I'm going to have to miss one due to holiday, so I mean, I crashed out at Oulton Park because I had a massive amount of damage, so the championship for me is not possible, I don't think. So I'll just be looking to lose the ballast next race and then go for the next one. And then, yeah, just win the ones I can or get as close to winning as I possibly can and then move on. I don't think the championship's in question for me.
Well, a huge thank you anyway, Dean, for all of the excitement you gave us tonight towards the end and through the entirety of that race. Best luck for the rest of the season, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
So, Alex, I believe it is up to you to have a chat with our mutual Scottish companion.
Yeah, let's bring in your Scottish compatriot, Mr. Martin Buchan, the first ever podium for eTeam Visaro in the Lexus, who was complaining he couldn't make it any faster in qualifying. Let's see if we can bring him in. Mr. Buchan, a very good evening. Congratulations, good sir. Firstly, the question that I need to have to ask you, how come you couldn't find another 2.5 tenths in quali?
Because I don't have 2.5 tenths in me, Alex, to be honest. Just not as quick as them guys.
That's a lame excuse. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, it's you got to hook the lap up perfectly, and I don't know. There might have been one lap in it, maybe, but it's kind of just, yeah. I just didn't think I had it, so yeah, that's how it is.
But still, nevertheless, to have a pretty good run. You know, you had a great fight with Nick Foster and Bobby Trundley. Myself and David were captivated, I think, for quite a few moments whilst you three were battling it out. We saw that Nick was, the tyres were dropping off, the track was evolving. It went from wet to damp to greasy, and then went to optimum. And the Lexus really came into its own after that changeover point as well, didn't it?
Well, I mean, that's odd because the Lexus is supposed to be better in the wet as well. But I think it was more because me and Max actually, when the race started and it was wet, we were like, oh my god, what do we do? So we just put a whole bunch of changes on it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I don't know how I finished because my front brakes were fried, absolutely roasting every lap.
I hate to think what pad set you put in.
Pad set 3, but I think it was more, we closed the brake ducts and then we were like, oh, it's going to dry up pretty soon. Oh, that's not good for me. But just wind the brake bias back. But no, the battle at the start with Nick and Bobby was great. I mean, I'll be honest, when I saw Bobby move in, I was like, how has he done that? I was like, how's he got that far up that quick? But he was a class act. And then Nick was just, I think it's just the Merc struggles in the wet a little bit maybe, and I could tell he just didn't have the confidence in the car. And I was like, well, he will make a mistake. It has to happen. He was going wide and a couple of corners. I was like, oh, he's just on the limit and no more. I thought, just take my time and see what comes. And then, yeah, he just had a bit of an incident coming out of the chase and stuff. And I was like, thank you very much. See you later.
And off you scarpered into the distance. Well, I mean, have you been sent a congratulations message by your good learned colleague, Mr. Spooner, who loves his ice cream, if memory serves me correctly?
No, but I've got to thank him actually, because what was it? Just before the pit window opened, Max was really struggling. I think he flat spotted the tyres or something. I kind of convinced him to pit onto dry tyres, and I was like, go and tell me what it's like. And then when he said he went 7 seconds a lap faster, I was like, right, I know I need to pit straight on the pit window, kind of thing, like first opportunity. Got to thank Divario as well for sponsoring me and Max as well. Hopefully they might have been watching that. Maybe I might get a free simulator, maybe, hopefully.
Oh, don't count your chickens before they hatch, Mr. Bucket.
Oh, you got it. Don't ask, you don't get it.
Exactly. You don't ask, but sometimes you never get.
I know that, yeah.
Well, mate, all the best congratulations and well done tonight. And yeah, we'll see how you get on at SNET for round 5 in 4 weeks.
Cheers, lads. Cheers, Alex. Cheers, David. Keep up the good work, lads.
Well, there he was, the man, the myth, the legend, your good Scottish learned colleague, Mr. Martin Buchan. It was a great job, wasn't it, by him?
It was, in a way, but I've got to be honest, I was quite disappointed with his performance tonight, mostly because I didn't have anything that I could pick holes and fault him for. Look, we have a lot of banter, and I've got a lot of love for Martin, and I'm beyond delighted to see him getting the type of result he deserves. He's part of the banter and part of the mockery comes from, like, jealousy from me, absolute jealousy at how fast he is. And it's no matter what he does the real life karting, he turns his hand to many different sims, and he's always like really, really fast. So yeah, great to see the result tonight, and yeah, long may it continue. I hope he gets a string of really good results for the rest of the season.
Well, that's it from us here on the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge with myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and David Christie. A big thank you to you all for watching. Big thank you to all our competitors for braving it out in such differing weather conditions here at Mount Panorama. But we leave a land down under and we head to the east of England, to East Anglia, to Norfolk, to Snetterton on the 15th of November for our 5th round out of 8. So 4 different winners: Dean Riley, Dominik Alvarez, Charlie Crossland, and now add Robbie Stapleford to that list. Will it be 5 from 5 at round 5? Join us in 4 weeks to find out. Thanks for watching and good night.